What is going on? How's everybody doing? We're back with another Virginia Tech Hokies video because, I think they've kind of wrapped up the transfer portal by now. I think the transfer portal window is pretty much closed for all the big additions that you're going to see. So, if I had to make a prediction, I would probably say that this is Virginia Tech's final transfer portal haul. So, we're going to come on here and kind of go over some of them, and this one is going to be some of the bigger ones. Not all the big ones, but some of the bigger ones. It's probably going to be like a 2 to 3 part series because I don't want to make each video too long. But gonna kind of give my thoughts and opinions on them and let you know kind of some stuff that you should know about the players. And if you are a Virginia Tech fan, let me know down in the comments what you think of this portal haul with the first year under James Franklin and how he did, in your opinions, in the transfer portal. So, like I said, not going to go too in depth, just kind of run some stuff by you, give my thoughts and opinions. And yeah, without further ado, before we do start, I want to greatly appreciate, as always, every single video. Greatly appreciate all the Hokies fans. You guys show me massive amounts of support on every single video that I do post. So I greatly appreciate you guys for that. But yeah, let's get straight into it because I don't want to hold you here for too long. First one, Ethan Grunkemeyer. So you have your quarterback of the future now, I would assume. Now, you did pick up another quarterback in Bryce Baker, who we're going to go over in another video, but I believe Ethan Grunkemeyer is going to be the starting quarterback next year. I do believe that he is the quarterback of the future for the Hokies. Now, Ethan's a guy who, hey, if you know me already, I'm a Penn State fan. I'm never going to talk negative about Virginia Tech unless I should be talking negative about Virginia Tech. But right now, there's no reason to talk negative about him. Like, I'm just going to give you my honest thoughts and opinions on everything. That's basically what it is. Completely unbiased. So, if you do know me, yes, I'm a Penn State fan. I've given Virginia Tech nothing but praise for the hire and the addition so far. So, that's kind of how I feel about it. But Ethan Grunkemeyer, huge fan of this. Huge fan of this pickup. So, like I said, as a Penn State fan, this is a guy who we really, really, really wanted to keep around. When Matt Campbell came over after James Franklin was fired from Penn State and Virginia Tech picked him up, a lot of people kind of speculated that Grunk would probably head over to Virginia Tech, and that was going to be like the big splash in the offseason, and that was it. That was definitely it. So Grunk did follow James Franklin over there. He's going to be playing in a similar system to what he kind of has learned over the years at Penn State. And, man, he looked very, very good down the stretch of the season. So if he can carry some of that momentum onto Virginia Tech, I think this is going to be a very good, high productivity quarterback for the Hokies next year. And I think he's going to go in there and he's going to win you a lot of games. Because if you do know anything about James Franklin, yes, there has been struggles about winning the big games. But in the ACC, you're not going to be playing those top-level Big Ten schools. So I think you're going to win more of those games. And you're going to win a lot of those quality games. I think it was just kind of time for a change for Penn State and James Franklin. James Franklin's not a bad coach. Yes, we had our ups and downs with him at Penn State, but overall, I think he's a good coach. And he's going to go into Virginia Tech, and he's going to win a lot of games for him. And having Ethan Grunkemeyer as your quarterback going into your first year in the ACC with the Hokies, I think is an absolutely massive move. I think Virginia Tech fans are going to really like him. So Luke Reynolds is another guy coming over from Penn State. So one thing I do want to talk about, what we were expecting out of Luke Reynolds, because he was a 5-star tight end. He was a former 5-star tight end as a number 1 tight end in his class as well. We didn't really get the production that we were hoping for out of him. You kind of expected more. But however, he's still a 5-star. He's still a big-bodied tight end with a lot of potential. Because then again, when you look at it, we kind of got a sample size. He had 26 receptions for 257 yards, averaged 9.9 yards per catch, which that's a very good number. But he really didn't flash the huge potential that we were hoping for. But then again, like I said, he's still super young, still very young, still have several years of him. And James Franklin has typically brought in good staff that develops tight ends at a very high level. So I think Luke Reynolds is going to be another product of that type. And you're going to see higher level production out of Luke Reynolds as he does get used to the offense more and as he does grow into the college football mold. I think Luke Reynolds is still a spectacular pickup. He's probably going to be your starting tight end next year. Actually, I'd almost assume he's going to be the starting tight end next year. And yeah, I think you get a former 5-star here who's still very young, still some upside. I think Luke Reynolds is still going to be a good player. I've yet to give up on him. I think this is an outstanding pickup for the Hokies as well. Now, the next one, Eric Mensah, coming over from Ohio State. So he was originally a three-star recruit committed to Virginia Tech back on the 2024 cycle. And however, he took an official visit to Ohio State and decommitted from Virginia Tech, ended up signing with the Buckeyes instead. Mensah then spent 2 seasons at Ohio State, and he's now a redshirt, or no, he one of those was a redshirt year and limited game action. But he's now, you have several years of him. You have several years of him, and he adds a lot of depth to the defensive line, especially on the inside of the defensive line, on the interior, where the Hokies have really been rebuilding and trying to strengthen that position. So you do that here and you add some valuable depth. He does have 3 years of eligibility left, so he's expected to compete for rotational snaps and develop into a key contributor for the interior defensive front, which I think he eventually will. Now, when you look at him, he's great in the run gap, so he's going to be a good run stuffer in the trenches, which I think is going to be very good for Virginia Tech as a rotational guy in year one. But maybe you'll see him pick up some of that upside as a pass rusher and some other stuff as well as the years go on. Now, Quayshawn Brown, I really like this pickup. So you got a compact, super shifty slot receiver who creates a lot of separation, super quick, good route precision, and has major playmaking instincts. And he's a pretty small target, so you can see why he's going to fit straight into the slot. And he's very quick, very quick. He's a good chain mover on critical downs, and he's going to go out there and block. He's going to be a high effort blocker and screens and short passes and stuff, which I think is going to be very big. Now, he's had 64 receptions for 846 yards and 5 touchdowns, which is the second leading receiver at Duke. He's coming over from Duke, by the way. And when you look at Duke's wide receiver production last year, Cooper Barquet was outstanding for them. And to still have that type of production behind a guy who went for like over 1,000 yards easy is really good. And you see 13.2 yards per catch. So he has that explosive playmaking ability. And he's also going to contribute on special teams as well. He's returned 9 punts for 116 yards and a touchdown. So you're going to see him probably, I'd say you'll see him on some special teams this year. And he'll probably be pretty valuable on that side as well. So I really like this pickup. I think this is a very, very underrated pickup. And, you only have him for 1 year. But it's going to be a good target for Grunk to really lean on when needed. So, Justin Terry, offensive tackle coming over from Ohio State, redshirt sophomore, so still has 3 years left. He's a big body offensive tackle who, he offers Virginia Tech really size and physicality on the edge of the line. Not yet a polished star, but he does have the frame and the tools to convert into a potential starting tackle when developed properly, or if developed properly, which, again, James Franklin has been pretty good for bringing in the right staff to develop offensive linemen at a pretty high level. You've seen a lot of these offensive linemen from Penn State go over and do a pretty good job in the NFL, although you do have a different staff coming in. But I think I would trust this. And when you see, like I said, James Franklin, he's been pretty good with offensive linemen. So I like the upside of Justin Terry. He is more of an upside guy, and he has some upside in pass protection. I don't really know if he's going to be a starter year one, but definitely a guy that you'll see down the line. Now the last one is, as a Penn State fan, really like him, is Keon Wiley. So Keon Wiley, he's a linebacker, which obviously James Franklin and his little tenure at Penn State developed some very high-level linebackers. And I think Keon Wiley was going to be one of those guys. He's a guy from Pennsylvania, from Philadelphia, so he's a Philadelphia guy. And he's a guy who's going to run downhill to the football. He fits very well in gaps. He's going to stuff the run. Like I said, strong run, defensive grades. And, he has some versatile rushing attack. Like, he's very reliable in the rushing attack, basically. And he's pretty versatile because there is some pass rush upside there that you haven't quite yet seen, but I think will definitely translate. You'll probably see that this year. I do think this will probably be Keon Wiley's breakout year, if I did have to say. He's shown ability to get to the quarterback with multiple sacks in his Penn State career. In 2025, he had 28 tackles, 2.5 tackles for loss, and 1 sack in 13 games. He's going to be an immediate impact player for the Hokies. Now, he does still need some growth in pass coverage situations. He does have some trouble covering the linebackers and covering the tight ends when needed, but I think that's something that'll be worked on, and you'll eventually see him translate. You might even see him come off the edge more this year. I'm not really too sure. Not too sure because he'll have to put on some size for that, obviously. But yeah, man, that's just kind of what we have for this one. Just want to come on here and kind of give you some info on some of these guys. Like I said, part two is going to be coming probably this week, so stay tuned for that. We're going to keep pumping out a lot of Virginia Tech content. It's been kind of slow, so it's kind of hard to put out content right now because, we're kind of at a dead period in college football. So not really many people are paying attention. Not really many people are making any moves. So I'm just going to be covering some transfer portal classes until some stuff starts to pick up. Then we'll start breaking some news again. So, yeah, man. Yeah, I really appreciate all you guys who did tune in. Let me know in the comments if you're a Virginia Tech fan and you did make it to this point. Which one of these are your favorite pickups so far? Like I said, part two is coming, so stay tuned for that. And yeah, I greatly appreciate it. If you did enjoy, I greatly appreciate it if you consider subscribing to the channel. It helps me out a lot as always. And share with your friends. I've been meaning to say that. I would greatly appreciate if the Hokies fan base did share with their friends and other Hokies fans, so we can kind of spread the word, and really become a place to consume Virginia Tech content, because I know a lot of people don't really cover it, which I like to do. So anyway, yeah, I hope you guys did enjoy, and I'll catch you on the next one. Peace.